upon a time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan, live Monday, January, what's today, 27th, 2020, and boy, if I wouldn't get a copyright violation, I'd be singing Panic at the Disco right now, but we have to say Panic at the Corporate Disco. Holy cow, have you ever been so excited? Have you ever been so just enthralled? Have you ever tasted something so delicious as the collective panic at the establishment disco right now? Oh, God. I don't want to get ahead of myself. You shouldn't get ahead of yourself. The Iowa caucus is in 7 days. But right now, boy, is the corporate Democratic establishment freaking out. I mean, it's really exciting. I'm really enjoying it. Full disclosure, I was just taking a bath reading these articles of the Democratic Party establishment, having heart palpitations right now. And it's exciting. It's enjoyable. But, you know, if you're a Bernie supporter, you got to act like you're 10 points down. You really do. It's the only way to win. Can't act like you've won anything. But it is pretty enjoyable, I would say, to see all of these folks in a full-fledged panic. So we're going to talk about that today. We are lucky to have a great interview with campaign co-chair Nina Turner, who has been with Bernie Sanders since 2016. She has been a force to be reckoned with again in 2020. I spoke with her earlier. We already put out one short clip from, I think it's like a 23-minute interview we did. So we got full in-depth interview with Nina Turner, who used to be a state senator for the state of Ohio, and now obviously is Bernie Sanders' campaign co-chair. I've publicly said, if it were up to me, if Bernie wins the nomination, I think 100% she'd be my leading choice for vice president. So we're going to play that in a few short minutes. Also have some reporting Marcus is doing in Iowa. For those of you that, remember, Marcus is in Iowa for us. I will have an announcement about my whereabouts and where I'll be going in a little bit. So, so exciting. But before we continue, you know the drill. Got 250 people watching right now. Only 119 of you have pressed that like button. So I need another 100 of you, over 100 of you. Please be so kind. Smash the thumbs up button. It's right under the video. The more people that smash the like button, the more people that will see the very live stream we are on right now. YouTube doesn't particularly like notifying people when we're live. And as Jen just sent me yesterday, we just found out, YouTube also doesn't particularly like showing us in anybody's recommended feeds. We'll get into that another time. But once you see this graph of our search traffic, how people actually find us, oh, I'm going to pop a lid. It is so maddening. But I digress. That's for another day. Also, consider joining our text list by going to text 474747 and typing in Coup, that's C-O-U-P. You could join our text list, no charge, and it helps us get around all of this YouTube suppression and all of these delayed notifications. They're not notifying people when we're live, so we need you to join our text list. I think we're almost at 600 people on our text list. We got to grow that lickety-split. And you'll want to know, because I'll be announcing I'm going somewhere very soon. So join our text list. Follow us at Status Coup on the Twitter. We're live there right now. I think we're almost at 15,000. We've been growing very quickly there. And we got a tweet. Go smash that tweet. It's at the top of our Twitter with a clip of this Nina Turner interview. Is at the top of our Twitter. Also, we're live on Twitch right now, so follow us at twitch.tv/statuscoup and join our email list by going to statuscoup.com. Enter your email. It is very, very important. We grow our email list. This is how we alert you of our growth and of where we're going, which we will have news about that in a little bit. And we got a couple more members yesterday on our Sunday live stream. Let's get to 850 today. I think that's doable. Statuscoup.com/join. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. And if you become a member today or tomorrow, you'll get to join Jen and I on the monthly members call tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern time. For those of you that have been on the members call in the past, feel free to drop in the super chat how fun it is and why people should join today. So, let me remind you, this is a super chat, and thank you, Windy Melly, getting us started. $5 in the super chat. What can we do about the rigging of electronic devices at the caucuses? We'll get into that. Thank you for the super chat. Nina and I kind of discussed some of that as well. Keep it coming on the super chat, and please, 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 press that like button. We got 300 people watching already. Only 205 of you have pressed the like button. I know I'm a broken record, but it really, really helps. Press that thumbs up button. So, we're going to get into the collective Democratic Party meltdown happening right now. I showed you some of these yesterday, but if you didn't catch me yesterday, let's quickly go through the polls before we air the interview with Nina Turner. We have the recent Iowa poll, which from New York Times shows Bernie Sanders 7 points up above Pete Buttigieg, excuse me. 7 points up. We have most electable Joe Biden at 17% in that poll. Elizabeth stabby in the front Warren at 15% in that poll. Amy Midwest Nice at 8%, and then Steyer and Yang rounding it out. In that poll, as I explained yesterday, apparently, contrary to what the corporate media says, when you, as a candidate, moonwalk away from any convictions you had, I'm talking about Senator Warren here, it's not so good. Elizabeth Warren, down 20 points. 20 points. She's down 22 points in this Iowa poll. She was at 38% in October, down 16% among 18 to 29-year-olds, the millennials that I am part of at the tip of the sphere. I'm 33. So, amazingly, the corporate media has been telling you forever and ever and ever, well, Elizabeth Warren, the reason she started sliding was she was for Medicare for all. No. As anyone with a brain has been saying, when she was for Medicare for all, she was in the lead. But, frankly, nobody really believed she was truly for it. And as we predicted, she moonwalked, and proof is in the pudding. She's sliding all over the place. Then you have, after that Iowa poll, you have the New Hampshire WBUR poll has Bernie Sanders up a commanding 12 points. Mayor CIA up next at 17. Biden, the most electable, at 14. Elizabeth Warren at 13. Klobuchar at 6. Tulsi at 5. Yang 5. And then the riffraff of the billionaires at the bottom. Then you have CNN's New Hampshire poll. Also has Bernie Sanders up by 9 points. Biden at 16. Buttigieg at 15. Then you have NBC New Hampshire poll. Bernie Sanders in the lead again. This one, you got Warren at 13, but Klobuchar rising up there at 10. You got Emerson, which I think has been one of the better pollsters. Biden at 30, Bernie at 27. That is margin of error, so it's basically a tie. Warren way, way behind. Yang, 8%, which is fairly high for him in a national poll. And then we have Fox, which it's Fox, but according, the polls are pretty decent from Fox. Again, margin of error: Biden at 26, Bernie at 23, everybody else far behind. Bloomberg ahead of Mayor CIA in this one, so that's pretty big. And just came down the pipe here, another New Hampshire poll. Let me find it. We have Franklin Pierce, Boston Herald. Franklin Pierce, Boston Herald, New Hampshire poll. Bernie up 7 points in New Hampshire. Electable Joe, -4 at 22%. Stabby in the front, Elizabeth Warren, -2 at 16%. Mayor CIA at 10%, up 3. So, dare I say, Bernie is surging at the exact right time. And if you want to look at the Real Clear Politics average, of polls, amazingly, right now you got Bernie Sanders in Iowa has taken the lead by 3 points. So you got Bernie Sanders, 25, Biden 22, Buttigieg 17, Warren 13.5. So that Bernie's up by 3 in Iowa, according to Real Clear Politics. And in New Hampshire, let's see what's going on in New Hampshire here. You got Bernie Sanders also has taken the lead in New Hampshire by a pretty damn commanding lead here, 24-16. So Bernie Sanders 24, 16 for Biden, 14.8 for Mayor Pete, and Warren at 13.0. So needless to say, if the Iowa caucus were held today, it is really, really not good news for Elizabeth Warren in particular. I don't think it's good news for Joe Biden, which I get into with Nina Turner. We'll play it in a minute. I also don't think Bernie Sanders supporters should at all be overexcited. I would consider these polls, although it shows he is surging, I would consider, do not underestimate I'm trying not to get demonetized, the fudgery that will happen in Iowa. Do not underestimate the fact that I'm already hearing reports of people not knowing their polling locations, the polling location changing on websites, those kinds of things. I would act like you're 10 points down. If I was Bernie Sanders' campaign telling volunteers, I would act like you're 10 points down and act like you got to fight for every last vote. And I think that's the message that Nina Turner gets across. So let me air the interview, and then we'll talk about it on the flip side. Just want to read a couple more super chats. This is a super chat, so keep it coming there. Jaybird D, $4.99. Not sure how long you've been on, but I just got the text. FYI, go Jordan, Bernie 2020. Hey, you got the text because you're on our text list. Hint, hint. Sign up. It costs us a lot of money to send these texts, but we're trying to grow it. Rob R, $1.99. Does Nina know about DNC caucus app and election fraud? Stay tuned. We're about to play the interview. All right. Keep the super chats coming. And without further ado, oh, by the way, 500 people watching. We got 289 of you have pressed that like button. Can I get another 200 people? Press that thumbs up button. It's the thumbs up button right under the video. The more people that press the thumbs up, the more people that will see this live stream. So I spoke with Nina Turner, obviously, about the Iowa caucus momentum. We spoke about the DNC, which, if you don't know, just came out with its list of committee men and women on its convention committees. The convention is in Milwaukee. And if you look at who Tom Perez appointed to these committees, particularly the Rules Committee, very, very disconcerting if you are a progressive. If Bernie Sanders does not get enough pledge delegates to win on the first ballot, if I'm a progressive, I would not feel comfortable with these people setting the rules or setting anything. I wouldn't even feel comfortable with them setting the drapes at the convention. So we talk about that. We also talk about more and more evidence coming out that Trump is concerned about Bernie Sanders, not Joe Biden. And we talk about other things. Without further ado, here is Nina Turner. Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by former state senator Nina Turner, co-chair of the Bernie Sanders campaign. Has been going all over the country, so appreciate you taking a couple minutes. I want to start. You were an OG in 2016. We are now 7 days from Iowa. Can you kind of talk about what you're seeing that is the key differences. We obviously know the polling is looking good right now, but besides the polling, what's the energy difference compared to 2016 now?
Thanks for having me, Jordan. It's electric. The synergy is very strong. We know that the senator kept his revolution, if you will, moving. He didn't stop after the primary of 2016. He continued to build a multicultural, multiracial, multi-generational movement. And the confluence of that, the work, the seed that was planted and cultivated, we are reaping the benefits of that in this 2020 election. There is no excitement on the ground for any other candidate in the same concentrated, deep manner as it is for Senator Sanders. And it's all over. I mean, Jordan, I was just in North Carolina. I was in Durham, Greensboro, Charlotte. I mean, it was phenomenal. And of course, the senator was not there. It's me. And we had crowds on Friday night, Saturday night, hundreds of people coming out all over that state to talk about their hopes, their dreams, their fears, and why they believe that Senator Bernie Sanders' vision and mission, being on task all of these years, will help to change the material conditions for them, their families, their community, their state, this nation, and the world.
I assume you're very busy, so I'll just read
Yeah.
the quick headlines. New York Times: Bernie Sanders and his internet army talking about mean Bernie Sanders supporters this morning. You have the Politico: they let him get away with murder. Dems tormented over how to stop Bernie. That's just two. I know there's more coming in the next 72 hours. What is the campaign thinking in terms of, obviously, he's now, according to at least 3 or 4 polls in
Yes.
Iowa and New Hampshire, looking more like a front runner. Are you expecting the attacks, even if the attacks come out and, quote, these outlets start, quote unquote, oh, we've unearthed new video fed to us by Joe Biden's campaign.
Right.
Is the campaign planning on, responding to these attacks, or just laser focused on organizing, phone banking, all those things?
Jordan, we're going to stay laser focused. I mean, we are willing to go head to head with anybody on the issues, but all of this other nonsense is just foolishness, and it is a distraction. So what we are encouraging both ourselves and also the volunteers out there is to keep their eyes on the prize and do not get distracted. This is the way that we're going to win. This is a ground game. This is in the streets. This is not from the castle view. This is from the street view. So, of course, those in the castle are going to try to malign the senator. See, they can't touch him on the issues, so they're going to bring up other foolishness. Other candidates have supporters who do some very vile things, as you know, Jordan. You have seen them. You have witnessed them. I mean, the way they come after people like me and Bree Joy and others on this campaign, the senator, his wife, his family, but nobody's bringing that up. They always want to throw dirt at the senator on that. Listen, it's the same tactic that was used against then Senator Barack Obama in 2008. They were called the Obama Boys. Now they're called the Bernie Bros. But I got a news flash for these folks. Most of the donations that the senator is getting into this campaign is coming from women, aka the Bernie Bros. The number one profession that's donating to this campaign, teachers. We know that women dominate the profession of teachers. Hello, Bernie Bros. I mean, it is absolutely nonsense. And every time a supporter of Senator Sanders comes with the facts, and they do it sometimes in a very fierce way, people want to complain. The senator continues to encourage, as do I. Hard on the issues, soft on people. We're going to keep this a fact-based, driven campaign, keep our eye on the prize, not allow them to try to get us off course, Jordan, and that's how we're going to win. The reason why the senator is polling high in places like Iowa, New Hampshire, even the national polls show him polling very high, is because of his authenticity. People trust him, his courage, his conviction. Even people, Jordan, as you have seen, and you interview people all over this country who may not necessarily agree with every single issue that the senator puts forward, he continues to poll at his favorability ratings very high, the most liked senator in the United States Senate. So come on, they can try to throw this stuff, but it's not going to stick.
I want to ask you about Joe Biden specifically. I'm not saying he's at the Trump level of lies, but he also does seem to lie kind of with ease. There was an interview at a Vice Iowa Black and Brown forum, just casually said, I never called to freeze Social Security. The interviewer actually challenged him, credit to her. And then he kind of got into a twisted pretzel explaining that it was under Reagan, it was to save Social Security. But, you always talk about the receipts. You got receipts of him trying to do it with President Obama. Bernie Sanders in front of the White House fighting this.
That's right. Saying that this cannot happen on our watch, that it is wrong. It's the same way that he filibustered for 8.5 hours against the extension of the Bush tax cuts in 2010. Yes, we do have the receipts. So it's one thing to stand up and say, you know what, I was wrong. Let me rethink my position. I did do those things. It's another thing to just lie about having done those things. And the people are not stupid. They get it. And what they're looking for is not necessarily perfect. No politician, no human being is perfect, but they do deserve honesty and they do deserve integrity. And it is very clear, roll the tape, #receipts, that Vice President Joe Biden partnered with the GOP to cut Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. He is on recording saying, I tried to do all of those things, not once, not twice, not 3 times, just bragging about doing those things. And we know that hurts people. And if I may give you by way of example, let's just use the African-American community, for example, Jordan, if I may, we know that for 3/4 of the recipients of Social Security in the African-American community, that makes up almost 50% of their income. When you talk about raising the age, it impacts the African-American community, African-American men specifically, because African-American men die at higher rates than anybody else. So if anybody is talking about, one, cutting Social Security, and then 2, talking about raising the age, that hurts the African-American community, Black men in particular. And oh, by the way, if you are a worker in this country from any racial identity, that you are out there working with your body, that hard work that you have to do every single day, be it construction, carpentry, etc., raising the age on Social Security does not help you. If you wear a suit every day to work, it might not harm you as much. But if you are somebody that is working with your body on a regular basis, raising the age on Social Security is harmful to you and to your family. Vice President Joe Biden must own up to that.
I want to ask you, you see with the DNC right now, I know your focus is on Iowa, but a lot of Bernie supporters and progressives are very worried. They just announced their committees for the DNC convention. And frankly, I mean, it's a Hall of Fame list of lobbyists, Wall Street consultants. You got John Podesta, Barney Frank, a lot of people that are on the record publicly that they think Bernie Sanders is, a threat to humanity, basically. Obviously, you got to focus on Iowa, but so far the campaign has been publicly felt that there were some reforms made by the DNC that were good. But,
I was on that committee, Jordan, as you know.
But this does not look like an even playing field. I don't see many progressive-minded people on that committee. And if we're getting ahead of ourselves, but if it's, Bernie has the most pledged delegates, but not the actual number to clinch it, these people don't look like they are arbiters of a fair process.
No, I mean, it's very disappointing to see Chairman Perez build a list of this magnitude. It also shows a lack of understanding about what the grassroots asked for post the 2016 election. It is an embarrassment. The DNC should be ashamed of itself because it really is a slap in the face to folks who were asking for reform. And let me just say this, that if the DNC believes that it is going to get away in 2020 with what it did in 2016, it has another thing coming. And it also hurts the Democratic Party itself, a party that should be big tent, a party that should be bringing in new people, i.e. young people, i.e. independents. In order to do that, you have to show that you've learned lessons. In order to do that, you have to be transparent. In order to do that, you have to pull different voices in. And this list that was just released shows very clearly that their arrogance is going to be their downfall.
I want to, talk about independence and these numbers. There's a quote from President Trump that I think is the ball game. And of course, the punditariat, you've been on CNN with these brilliant folks, totally misses this. President Trump at a recent rally, quote, "For decades, career politicians promised to defend the workers of Ohio, and then they went to Washington and voted for the same globalist policies that devastated your communities and shipped away your jobs. The Democrat politicians we are fighting today are the same ones who took a sledgehammer to Ohio jobs and factories and destroyed your factories and destroyed your jobs. They are losing and we are winning." You know exactly what that is, coming from Ohio. But to me, this is why he won those states. It wasn't Putin, it was trade, it was NAFTA. And he's going to use, isn't it true that if it's Biden, if it's Pete, or any of these people, or Warren, who just voted for this NAFTA 2.0, he's going to use the same exact playbook on, it's not like they suddenly 4 years later don't care that their jobs are still being offshored. Isn't this the electability game right here?
It is. I mean, President Trump, then Mr. Trump in 2016, he played faux populism like a fiddle. And he was able to win over voters in states like mine, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. And as you know, Senator Bernard Sanders won Wisconsin and he won Michigan, and he would have won all of those other states in the Midwest in 2016 if it was him going head to head with President Trump. Why? Because he stood strong for the working class of all backgrounds in this country his entire career. He did not vote for those trade deals. So when it's him going head to head with President Trump, he cannot say those same things about Senator Bernie Sanders. So absolutely, he's still going to do that. And you know what, George? He won 80 out of 88 counties in my state, the same state that voted for President Obama twice in 2008 and also in 2012. Obama, Trump voters. Yes, my state is a prime example of what happens when you neglect to speak to the needs of the working class people of this nation. Yes, they're still hurting. I mean, I had students in my college classes whose parents were hurt by those trade deals. Those very students understood and talked about how they didn't appreciate what the Democratic Party did to them because they watched their parents suffer, and by extension, they suffer too. So yes, the hurt is real. And when you lose your economic viability as a worker in this nation, sometimes it takes a very long time to rebound. You never forget that kind of stuff. So if President Trump is able to play on those fears by an indictment on Democrats, and then is able to go up against somebody that stood for those trade deals that hurt so many working class families, that is a pathway to disaster. If we really want to defeat President Trump, the person to do that is the real progressive in this race, the man who has been a consistent champion for workers, who has been on the front lines with those workers, not just when he started running for president, but yeah, let's roll some tapes on that one, whether it was the March on Canton, Mississippi in 2017, standing with Verizon workers, Marriott workers, the Fight for 15 with SEIU and others, and on and on and on, George. I mean, you remember even last year, Walmart workers, they had about 100 Democrats who were running for president to choose from, but who did they select to go to the stakeholder meeting on their behalf? They selected Senator Bernard Sanders. They did that for a reason. Why is it that so many workers in this country are giving their hard-earned dollars, donating those dollars to this campaign, whether it's teachers as a profession or workers at Walmart, workers at Amazon, workers at Target, workers at the United States Postal Service? They are a symbol for all. They are standing in for all other workers in this country and saying loudly and clearly with their money who they believe is the real champion and who is willing to put it all on the line, as he has been doing for decades, for material change, changing the material conditions in their lives. That's Senator Bernie Sanders, Jordan. So yeah, the neoliberals and the establishment, they're going to keep fighting against him. You know, Wall Street, because they know Senator Sanders, he said, I'm coming for your greed. Pharmaceutical industry, I'm coming for your greed. Fossil fuel industry, I'm coming for your greed. They're going to try to protect the status quo. And that is why we need people to continue to knock on doors and make phone calls in Iowa. Those polls are great. But what is going to win this race is what we do in the streets. And the ultimate poll is what happens on election day.
Two more questions. You know, I read the New York Times endorsement of Senator Klobuchar, Senator Warren, a couple other endorsements. And There seems to me to be this misunderstanding of politics because they think what Senator Sanders is describing is unrealistic, pie in the sky, all these things. But you're an organizer and you are one hell of a student of history. No change, real change, has come through mealy mouthed compromise. You know, Martin Luther King wasn't a mealy mouthed compromiser. He
That's
brought
right.
people to the streets. Same thing with the women's movement and many other movements. The New York Times talks about the radicals versus the realists, and we want a blend of both. But for a planet on fire, for
Yes.
record income inequality, water contamination, unprecedented barbaric police brutality. It doesn't seem to me like the first thing for a winning strategy is to go try to compromise with Mitch McConnell. What do you say to those independents, maybe some Republicans that have been kind of conditioned to think this is just how it is? This is just, this is Washington. You got to first try, offer 50% of your position. What does the Bernie Sanders campaign say that your position is actually the realist position?
Yeah, that the status quo does not work. Millions of people in this country are suffering because of the status quo. That same status quo that says that we cannot have universal health care. Meanwhile, 89 million people in this country are either underinsured or uninsured. And those of us who are blessed to have a job where our health insurance is tied to that job risk every single year that our employer may change that plan. Healthcare costs going up every single year. No guarantee. Just ask the UAW, just ask the workers, the UAW workers when they went on strike, what happened to them and how GMC threatened to take away their healthcare. We all can fall prey to that. So the status quo does not work. So why can't we have Medicare for all like every other industrialized nation in this world? President Trump, by way of example, gave a $1.6 trillion tax break to the wealthiest people in this country. So when Senator Sanders on the other side of that ledger says, let's cancel student debt. How much does it cost to cancel student debt? Just about $1.6 trillion. Are we going to continue to give away our tax dollars to the wealthiest people and corporations in this country? Or are we going to put a down payment on Main Street in this country? That is our message. And you know what? Whether you're independent, Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, what we all can relate to if we are among the working class is that this system is rigged and that you and your family, your community, you deserve better than what you have been getting. And it's not a matter of resources. We are the wealthiest nation on the face of the earth. We are a hegemon nation. It is a matter of will. And so we have people in Washington on both sides, Democrat and Republicans, who have convinced the working class people in this country that they don't deserve better. Well, guess what you do? We deserve a planet that is safe. You deserve clean water, clean food, clean air. And so why not rock with the person who has the intestinal fortitude to call out corruption, to call out a rigged system, and also has the record of consistency, courage, boldness, and commitment to the working class people of this nation. And that is Senator Bernie Sanders. So, Jordan, I would say to them that they deserve better than what they are getting. Don't let the Washington establishment fool you that we don't have the resources to do these things, and that now is the time for that type of bold leadership that can bring this country back together and give the working class people of this nation of all backgrounds what they have deserved for a very long time.
Last question. It's not talked about on the campaign trail that much, or it's definitely not in the media. We're going on 6 years now. Flint does not have clean water. Cleveland, I was actually the only reporter at a press conference last year. 90 kids in a month had high lead levels. You have, toxic pollution all over the country. Trump is repealing clean water, clean air provisions that honestly weren't even enough, but at least President Obama put them in. You have President Trump seizing public lands, trying to drill through Native American reservations. I mean, you have a real public health crisis and predominantly affecting Black, brown, indigenous people. I don't like day one proclamations, but if Bernie Sanders becomes president, what is the Bernie Sanders administration going to do immediately to ensure clean water, cleaning of the air, and not just saving the planet, but in the short term, protecting children and adults' health?
Jordan, thank you for your courageous work. I've
Thanks.
seen the work that you've done in Flint. You went to my home city of Cleveland, Ohio. You have been consistent on this, even when nobody else wanted to talk about it. You know, when I was on mainstream media more often than I am now, I would always bring up Flint, and people would look at me like I had lost my mind. Flint is the canary in the coal mine. 3,000, I think it was Rutgers University that did a study that 3,000 other cities in this country have higher lead levels. And lead is just one example. There are other toxins and poisons. We know that the movie Dark Waters is out highlighting that. So from the movie Aaron Brockovich to Dark Waters right now, we do have a crisis in this country. So I want to thank you. You don't get thanked enough. I want to thank independent media like you and other of your sisters and brothers that are in this arena, because you guys keep it real. Whether, no matter who it's for, who it's against, you keep it real and you give the people of this country the news that they don't necessarily always have the opportunity to get. So thank you. In terms of the senator and our administration, EPA, strengthen it. First of all, have people who work in the EPA who get it, that their job is not to be on the side of the corporatists or the lobbyists, but on the side of the people. And the last time I checked, dirty water, dirty air, dirty food, it doesn't matter how you swing politically, that impacts us all. And so you need an administration that will galvanize people that they hire in their cabinet and also in all of these departments who are firm about the vision of the administration. Senator Sanders, Jordan, was in Denmark, South Carolina last year, and we visited the home of a couple who have been keeping water for 10 years, collecting water for 10 years. Their chemical is not lead, but it is a chemical that the city has allowed to be put in the water, and people, cancer clusters, people's hair falling out. For 10 years, this family has been on the front line trying to draw attention. Senator Sanders went to their home, and I remember the wife in tears as she embraced the senator, saying, in all my life, I never thought that a presidential candidate would come to our home. We've been fighting to get attention towards this for 10 years. And he didn't come alone. He brought the media with him. And after we toured that home and we got into the living room assembled with the media, they tried to change the subject. Senator would not let them change the subject. About an hour after that visit, we had a town hall in Denmark, South Carolina, the same city. And the senator stood up and said, you know what, when I'm president of the United States of America, we're going to fix this water crisis in this country. And I am going to name it after the wife. And I'm blanking on her name right now. But that's the kind of man. He didn't have that pre-planned, but he was so touched by what he saw in their home that he was compelled to say, you know what, we are going to fix this problem. And I'm going to name it after you. That is the kind of president that we're going to have in Senator Sanders. So both short-term goals, because you're right, the Green New Deal is also a part of this, but there are things that a president can do immediately. And that is, first of all, turning back what President Trump has done, which is ridiculous, strengthening the EPA, making sure that these companies are held accountable for poisoning our water. Jordan, we have the same thing happening in places like Iowa. It's not lead, but it is these corporate farms, these mega farms where all of this fecal matter that's coming from pigs is seeping into the water in places like Iowa. And also the stench is so strong. People can't even come out of their homes. They can't hang clothing out on clothing lines. I mean, what kind of life is that to live? And these corporations don't have to pay a price for it. So people are going to see a swift change when Senator Bernard Sanders becomes the 46th president of the United States of America.
Will Nina Turner be joining him as vice president?
Jordan, I get that. I do get that everywhere that I go. I'm humbled by that. The senator has the right to pick whom he wants. What I do know is that I am fighting like hell every single day, a leader in this movement in my own right, to get him to the White House. And in whatever capacity he wants me to serve, I will be right there.
All right. Thank you for taking so much time. Thank you. Keep on fighting, and we'll keep in touch.
You too, Jordan. Thank you for all that you do.
Thank you. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you. Woo! Nina Turner, bring me to church, right? I got to tell you something. I don't want I don't want to speculate, but her answer on vice president was different this time than it was the last time I asked her. So, just saying. Just saying. I mean, what is there to say? I think, I don't pretend to be not biased. I'm a Bernie supporter. I definitely keep my facts straight. When I need to criticize Bernie, I do. But make no mistake about it. If Bernie Sanders wins the Iowa caucus, if Bernie Sanders wins New Hampshire, if Bernie Sanders were to become the Democratic nominee, Nina Turner is a big, big part of why that happened. If he wins, and we're getting ahead of ourselves, a lot of people should not forget, Bernie Sanders did not stop campaigning. He was on the road for 2017, on the road in 2018, before he announced in 2019, and Nina Turner was with him for a lot of that. So this is a very, very, very special woman and a very, very special asset to Bernie Sanders. So I appreciate her taking the time. We'll put up the full interview tomorrow. We got a lot of super chats, so I'm going to read some of them. But I also, before we lose some of our audience, want to let you guys know I will be headed to Iowa to join Marcus for the Iowa caucus. So we think Iowa is a very big deal. We think it's possible Bernie Sanders wins the Iowa caucus. We think it's possible there's a lot of shenanigans. And we think it's better, two minds, two voices, better than one. So I'll be joining Marcus there. Marcus will definitely be on camera reporting for us as well. We'll be doing a tag team in Iowa. I'm heading there in a few days. So I'm really, really looking forward to that. I will not lie to you. Not cheap. I will be going to Iowa. We have Marcus in Iowa. We have a cameraman coming with us. I will then be going to New Hampshire before the New Hampshire caucus primary. Depending on how things go after that, I might be going to South Carolina. I do not, and we do not, have the funding that I had in 2016 when I was at the Young Turks. We do not have that kind of funding. We don't have the same entities or individuals funding us. We don't want those entities funding us. So we really, really appreciate all the financial support, the super chats, and the best way for you to support us, the best way for you to help us fund me in Iowa, Marcus in Iowa, then New Hampshire after. And the way things are going, a long campaign is becoming a Status Coup member. We just got a new member. Welcome to the Media Revolution. What is your name? Vivian. So we are now at 840 Status Coup members. And if you become a member today, you know the drill. You could sign up for as low as $5 a month. Tomorrow is our monthly members call where we will be talking about a whole lot. If you don't know, the members call is a video call. It's not on YouTube. You don't have to be on video. You could turn your video mic off and just listen. We take questions, comments, concerns. We share way too much. Jen and I have a lot to talk about tomorrow. It's going to be a whole big pie of TMI, if there ever is one. So definitely sign up. Right now, again, we're at 840. If you want to see real reporting, if you want to counter the corporate propaganda, we literally cannot do it without you. We don't have enough members. We do not have enough funding to cover the entire campaign. I'm just keeping it real. We've done a whole lot with a whole little. You guys have sent us all over this country. We've been everywhere. That's almost everywhere in less than 2 years. But this campaign is going to cost us. But we think it's important, so we are putting our money where our mouth is. I will be going to Iowa in a few days. Then I'll be in New Hampshire. So please sign up, statuscoup.com/join. I'm going to play another clip of Marcus in Iowa with a Biden supporter. Wait till you see this one. But I do want to read some of our super chats. Keep them coming. By the way, got 840 people watching right now. Only 700 of you have pressed the thumbs up button. Can we get another 100 of you? 130. Please press the thumbs up button. It's right under the video. More people that press the like button, the more people that will see the live stream. We're not done. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more show to go. Let me read some super chats. So, Seth Peterson, $75. Wow. Thank you, Seth. That's really generous. We appreciate your consistent support. It really helps us out. Seth, thank you, Jordan, Jen, Marcus, and the rest of the Status Coup team for all the work you're doing. The revolution is building, and the MSM, along with the establishment, are starting to feel it. We must not stop now. I totally agree. And by the way, Seth, And for all of you, this is not to pat ourselves. Jen and I work 7 days a week, and it's starting to pay off a little bit. Our numbers are going up in views, despite YouTube and all the fudgery they're doing. Jen sent me an image yesterday of how people are finding our site. 65% of people finding our site are literally finding it by typing in status coup. You know what that means? It doesn't show up in people's feeds. It doesn't show up in people's recommended. It doesn't show up. So we are being suppressed like you would not believe, but you guys are helping spread the word, and we really, really appreciate that. And thank you, Seth. Really appreciate your continued generosity. Ward Wilson, $2 in the super chat. Thank you. Iris Lamb, $4.99. It's extremely annoying that we, Bernie Sanders supporters, get accused of bullying for bringing up truth about his opponent's records. Iris, very good comment. I'm about to get to that in a little bit. Jillian Morrison, £5 in the super chat. Nina has to be VP. She will smash it. The most inspirational and motivating VP ever. I've been on record saying she's my number one for VP. Christine Danielson, 20 Noke. iTrump trademark for voting machines, 11/6/18 approved. Don't know what you're talking about, but thank you. Jaybird D, $4.99 in the super chat. Not sure how long you've been on, but I just got the text. FYI, go Jordan, Bernie 2020. Thank you. Let's see. Kelly Elaine, $10. Thank you, Kelly. Your continued support means a lot. Colin, $2. Thank you, and thank you for turning around this interview so quick. Lawrence Johnson, $5. Thank you, Nina Rocks. Gene Zybach, $10. Thank you, Jen, Jordan, and Marcus. Thank you. Fred Smith, $4.99. Alarm bells. UN Democratic Party rigging election against Bernie. U.S. fractional vote counting DNC app. It's time to fight. Ask Nina, please. Too late. But email us, info@statuscoup.com, info@statuscoup.com. Email us the info. TWZRRPRZ, $19.99, $20 for the trip. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Jennifer Miller, $4. Nina Turner would be a great chief of staff, but it didn't attach to the message. I'm saying vice president. Bigger than chief of staff. Henry Volt, $5. You going to say anything about Ive Parnes leaking a tape of Trump saying that it would have been harder to win 2016 if Bernie wasn't on the ticket? Henry Volt, where you been, man? I'm live 6 days a week. We just covered this yesterday on the live stream. We're going to be posting that clip. Yes, we covered it yesterday. Trump openly admitting that he's scared beepless about Bernie Sanders. Of course, the corporate media isn't covering that, so we did. We will have that clip up tomorrow. Ian, $2 in the super chat. Keep them honest in Iowa. Thank you, Ian, and keep on keeping on. We are 10 members away from 850. I think we could do it today. So we need 10 more of you. Sign up, statuscoup.com/join. So before we get to the collective DNC panic, I tell you, want to remind you, your membership is also supporting Marcus. So Marcus has been literally sledging all around Iowa, covering Biden, Warren, not a lot of sleep, a lot of driving. You know, he's doing God's work out there. He was just covering a Biden rally, and boy, did he have a discussion with a Joe Biden supporter. So let's take a look at Marcus's latest reporting. Again, you could sign up for as low as a cup of coffee a month. That's $5 a month. Sign up today. You'll be able to join our members call tomorrow. Let's take a look at Marcus's latest from a Biden rally.
Mark Seeley here for Status Quo. I'm here with David, and we're out at the Joe Biden event. Can you talk to me a little bit about what brought you out to see the vice president today?
Well, I chose to be a captain in the caucus, and of course I'm a Biden supporter, and I was invited to come out tonight. Had a little time, and I want to come up there and support and hear Joe Biden.
Okay. And what in specific about Joe Biden makes you think, okay, I'm going to go be a precinct captain for this guy?
Well, not taking away from any other candidates, but I like his stance on health care. I believe people ought to have a choice, and his experience, and I think with his experience, he's a good person. I think that would help get the country back on track, bring the country back together, and especially what's going on overseas.
Okay. So there's so many different places I could go. So we'll start with healthcare because that was what you said was your major issue. Why healthcare choice versus everybody just getting healthcare with Medicare for all, which half of the Democratic Party has shown in polls that like this is their issue. If you're not for Medicare for all, go away. That's pretty much what's happened to everybody in the polls if they back away from Medicare for all.
With the current medical issues, it was hard enough just to get the Obamacare passed.
Mm-hmm.
I think just to do away with it, and especially if we don't get Democratic Senate, it's going to be hard anyway. But I think we ought to build on what we already have and make it affordable and have people have a choice, because there's people that like the health care, and I don't think we ought to just tell them to get off of it. You know, I like to see everybody have health care, but I think people ought to have a choice.
So they ought to have a choice between not being able to. I'm not understanding. Like, this is the one problem I've had with folks saying choice and whatnot for the
I'll
longest
explain
time.
that. I think they ought to have a choice as far as the health care that they want to have. I think health care ought to be made affordable to every American, but I think they ought to have a choice of who they want to see concerning the health care.
Yeah. Well, in regards to our healthcare system, we pay twice as much as any other developed country already. And then on top of paying that twice as much, we also don't guarantee health care for every single American. Like, these prices are ridiculous for everything. So, if we're being honest, there's only two real reasons we're keeping healthcare, and that's for the industry's profits and to make sure that they can continue to make billions of dollars and to keep employees indebted to their employers, because when you leave, you know what I mean, you lose your health insurance and all those problems that it creates. So, I mean, I'm confused as far as choice goes. Like, what choice do we get? Maybe employers get a choice, but like, as far as employees or people that actually are receiving the health care, what choice are we protecting?
Well, as far as to protect, I know employees will get health care, but even some of the health care that the employees get, they're not the best health care. But I think there ought to be a competition, and I think the drug companies ought to work out some type of deal to lower the drug costs and the health costs as well. It's time to help those who are not able to get health care.
Yeah.
And everybody's going to have to work together and be fair about it.
Yeah. Well, you know, there's always the other option of the government coming in and telling the companies, yeah, you're going to be fair, legal with the law, making like Medicare for all a legal thing.
Well, the law is only good, but it has to be enforced.
Yeah, definitely. We could definitely go with Medicare for all being the law and making sure that they follow that law. So that's a possibility. Also, I wanted to move because the other thing you talked about, and I know that they're getting ready to start, so we're going to move this along. I'm going to let you go. But the other thing that you said was you thought that he was the one that could get us back to where we need to be.
I think that he would be better for our country, as far as especially in foreign policy, and because America plays a great role in other countries, and that's one issue. And another issue, I think he would be an instrument to help bring the country back together for those who want to be together.
Yeah. Okay. So what about maybe going to something different? Because a lot of folks seem to feel that going back to what we had before will just get us another Trump. What do you say to those folks?
I'm not saying going back to what we had before, but I think we need to go in a direction. I think Joe Biden could bring us together where we can be. I think it's not going to be only one person, but I think we ought to support the best candidate to beat Trump, and well, I don't think the other candidates would be able to beat Trump.
In Iowa and New Hampshire, Bernie Sanders is beating Joe Biden, and then Bernie Sanders has beat Donald Trump in polls since before he got elected president. So, I mean, what about that guy?
Well, that's all right. You know, I don't look for Biden to win every state, but you know, those are states that Biden may not win. But overall, in the primaries across the country, I think Biden will win.
What about in the general?
I think
against Trump.
I think Biden has a good chance to beat Trump.
You
Not only Biden, but I think other candidates could beat Trump as well. But I think Biden has the broader appeal and idea. that could bring the country together.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I can tell you from, there was a report that came out a while ago that Donald Trump actually said the one candidate he was scared of and he didn't want was Bernie Sanders. He didn't want Hillary to pick him as a running mate.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I also wonder why he was scared of Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, well, you know, I think Biden would be good, and I'm going to vote for Biden. I'm not saying the other candidates would not, but I think he has a good, broad, hands-on as far as the issues, with his experience, with his foreign policy. I think that he will be up for the task.
Okay. And then as far as foreign policy, there's only been one candidate that was firm on getting out of the Middle East, and that was Bernie Sanders. Elizabeth Warren did call the Soleimani instance an assassination, and then she walked it back. And then, of course, in the case of Bolivia, Bernie Sanders was the only candidate to call that a coup. So as far as these various interventions outside of our borders, and kind of shrinking the empire in order to do better locally, Bernie Sanders is the only candidate that has talked about doing that. So why not? Why in that case not him?
Well, because they all say what they're going to do, but sometimes it's a different story when they actually get in office. I think Biden has a better grasp as what's going on and how to best handle the situation that we're now in.
You just watched Status Coup's In the Field coverage with me, live on the ground from Iowa. We can't do this without your support, so make sure to like, share, subscribe, and become a member at statuscoup.com.
You know, you remember those commercials when you were younger, like "This is your brain on drugs"? I feel like this is your brain on CNN and MSNBC and all of the corporate propaganda. No offense to that guy. He seems like a nice enough guy. But this is your brain on being kept numb. This is your brain on being kept uninformed. This is your brain on being kept, brainwashed, basically. I don't mind somebody who just tends to be a little bit more establishment. I could pretty much debate them and prove my point. But so many people, it's not that they're establishment. It's that they are brainwashed. They are brainwashed to think that we cannot have good things. They are brainwashed to think that, neoliberal, moderate candidates are the best to win in certain parts of the country. They're also, to me, brainwashed to think that we just need to unify the country. This person will unify the country. We don't need to unify the country. You know what unifies people together? Not having to work 3 jobs. People generally are in a better mood and less hostile. If they don't have to work 3 jobs, if they have health care, if they don't have to ration their insulin, if they could drink clean water, if their family members, particularly if you're black, aren't getting assassinated left and right by police, it goes a long way to uniting people around the country. There's always going to be division in the country because the country was founded on sin. There's always going to be division in this country. Trump is not the first person that has created divisions in this country. But people like who Marcus just interviewed and who he's been interviewing for the last few weeks, it's not that they're bad people. And honestly, I don't even blame them because the majority of what they consume is intentionally distorted, is intentionally pushing a narrative of status quo, is intentionally pushing a narrative that we can't have these good things. They're just pie in the sky. They'll never get through this, that, and the other thing. That is why the status quo maintains. That is why, by the way, Republicans always win. Because the truth is, people, particularly human beings, really, really respond to inspiration. Human beings really, really respond to feeling hope. And that's why the majority of Americans do not vote. Because what the media and the Democratic Party has been offering is a bunch of broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and bullshit. No offense to my vegans watching. Love broccoli. I should eat more of it. So, great interview by Marcus. Support us. Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. We're 10 members away. 10 members away from 850 members. Our members call, our monthly members call is tomorrow night. Have a date with Jen and I tomorrow night. Statuscoup.com/join. We definitely need to boost our funding, particularly with me joining Marcus in Iowa and then me headed to New Hampshire to cover the primary there. If this campaign continues to go the way the polls are going, I'm just keeping it real. We do not have funding to send me to South Carolina, Nevada, Super Tuesday states. We just don't have that kind of funding, unfortunately. But if we keep growing our membership, we will be able to cover more of the campaign. It's up to you. I mean, if you'd like to leave it to CNN and the Daily Beast and Hardball Chris Matthews to cover this, then, don't sign up and keep your $5 for, whatever you do. But if you sign up for as low as $5 to $10 a month, this is how we're going to fund this reporting. This is how we've been funding it, and this is how we will continue to fund it. So please, 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 if you've been on the fence, I hope you get off. Statuscoup.com/join. Let me make sure I don't miss any super chats before I move on. Richard Williams, $14.99. Thank you so much. Inevitable Swear Jar. You damn right. Ian Hesford, $2. Keep them honest in Iowa. Okay. I already read these. Perfect. So, normally I would have started the live stream with this, but we had Nina Turner and Marcus's reporting, so I didn't. But boy, oh boy. And by the way, Jen's putting the link in there. We don't really promote the GoFundMe anymore because we met our goal, thanks to you. I think we're actually $1,000 over our goal. So our goal was $85,000. Let me get the link. We just, we didn't shut it down. It still exists. So we just don't promote it anymore because, we don't want to keep moving the goalposts. But it is possible, if you prefer GoFundMe to Super Chat, whatever, you could donate there too. So the media, and by the way, you are going to see a version of the stories I'm reading for the next 72 hours. 24, 48, 72 until Iowa Caucus Day. The media and the journalists, quote-unquote journalists, are calling their friends in the Democratic Party establishment for quotes, and they're all writing basically the same exact story, which is, panic! Bernie's winning! Bernie might be the nominee! Holy shit! Oh, fuck. Demonetized again. God damn it. Swear jar. Keep it coming, baby. Swear jar. So, let's start with the Daily Beast. Love this story. I'm not going to read these whole stories, but I just find it hilarious. Worried Democratic operatives scramble to fund a network to take Bernie down. A group of loosely affiliated Democratic operatives have been in discussions about putting together an effort to attack Bernie should he end up winning Iowa, potentially, and the New Hampshire primary. The talks, which two sources described to the Daily Beast, are in their nascent stages and have already hit a snag. Big money Democrats have shown reluctance at funding such an effort, which could consist of ads attacking Sanders, and institutions associated with Democratic politics have largely shied away from being part of any campaign that goes after the senator, either out of fear over the backlash or growing acceptance at the prospect of him becoming the party's nominee. Quote, It's not any one group of people trying to build the anti-Sanders effort, said one of the Democratic sources. It's a loose network of people, I'm sure David Brock is in there, Neera Tanden is in there, of people who think he would be very problematic as the nominee. There is, at this stage, calls to and conversations with donors and organizations that might support such an effort. But as far as I could tell, nobody has found sufficient financial support to get it off the ground. So, you know what I'd like any one of these reporters, maybe the Daily Beast, can ask these donors? Sorry if I come off a little crass. Who the fuck cares what you think? These are the same donors who have funded losing candidates for the last decade. Over 1,000 seats lost because of these brainiacs. Contrary to what they say, it's not because candidates were proposing, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and nothing, and incrementalism that the Democrats retook the House of Representatives. First of all, in midterm elections, generally speaking, the opposing party generally takes one or both houses of Congress. The reason is suburban women were starting to wake up that Donald Trump is a menace to society. It wasn't because, oh my God, we just need, neoliberalism back in our living rooms. Are you kidding me? So I would like to know why. I know why. I know why Politico and the Daily Beast and the New York Times are all giving these people a therapy session on our internet browsers. But why should we listen to these people that told us Hillary Clinton was the most electable candidate? Who told us that if you just support the, who was that guy in Georgia who lost? That good-looking fella who lost in Georgia. John something. No, not John Edwards. Ossoff. If you just support John Ossoff, we'll win Georgia. It's just unbelievable to me. If you support John Kerry, it's in the bag. No, he will kill George Bush politically. Now, if you just support a dying political carcass, not a legitimate dying carcass, but politically, Joe Biden's a dying carcass. If you support him, we will take his lifeless body to the finish line. This is the Twilight Zone. So why do we care what these people think? Thank you, my friend Gabrielle from Sweden. Swearjaw regards from Sweden. Love you. Thanks from Sweden. Love to come. Love your chocolate, too. So the conversations have been driven by fear that Sanders could all but wrap up the nomination early in the campaign without having faced much pushback. Whereas in 2016, Sanders came under a barrage of attacks from Hillary Clinton over his voting record on guns and, more opaquely, the lack of diversity in his political coalition, the senator who has significantly brought in that coalition, blah, 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 blah. According to FEC records, the sum total of reported independent expenditures opposing Sanders, directly and by name, was just $32 and that was spent by Club for Growth, a conservative group that has also run digital ads. That may very well change in the coming days. The organization Democratic Majority of Israel, which is run by pollster Mark Mellman, is buying tens of thousands of dollars in airtime, according to documents filed with the FCC. So, basically, this is kind of like the Never-Trumpers. The Never-Trumpers who didn't see Trump coming. I mean, I'm not comparing Bernie to Trump. Obviously, not the same person. But this is like the Never-Trumpers. They are defenseless. They are helpless. They are very, very disconnected to the actual base of their political party. So they're just like, all right, let's throw money at it and try to stop the excitement, enthusiasm, and, truth. Let's just throw whatever the hell we can throw and see what sticks. Unfortunately, I just think I don't want to, steal from anyone. I think the kids are woke. I think people are woke, not just the kids. I think a lot of older folks are now woke. I think there are millions more young black people that are going to vote for Bernie that couldn't vote last time, brown people that are going to vote for Bernie that couldn't vote last time, young white people that are going to vote for Bernie that couldn't vote last time, and a whole lot of people that have never voted that are going to vote for Bernie. A lot of people that have voted but have stopped voting because they just lost patience and hope with the rigged system. And I just don't think, calling him a communist and a socialist and, a boogeyman, I just don't think it's going to work, because the problem is they don't actually have a case to make. How are you going to tell people that are rationing insulin that somebody who is going to give you and cover health care for you is a threat? How are you going to convince people that are working 3 jobs that somebody who's talking about actually taxing the wealthy, investing in communities, having a jobs guarantee, how are you going to convince those people that that person is a threat to your very, success and existence? It just doesn't even make sense on its face. So, I mean, they could keep trying, but I just don't think the propaganda is going to be as effective. Akeem Oniram, $5 in the super chat. Amazing how even stupid Trump can see Bernie as his toughest opponent. The neolibs aren't that stupid. They're afraid of the left taking over. Couldn't agree more. So that's one. Then you got CNN jumping in the fray. Again, they're all basically writing the same exact story with a different headline. Bernie Sanders' surge rattles establishment Democrats 1 week from Iowa. Oh boy. Bernie's on a roll, and that is precisely what worries his rivals and is rattling the Democratic establishment 1 week from the Iowa caucuses. Private concern among moderate Democrats has already escalated into public alarm about whether Sanders becoming the nominee would make it easier for Donald Trump to be reelected and complicated the party's chances of winning control of the Senate. The heart of those concerns stems from Sanders' proud embrace of being a democratic socialist, a moniker that many worry would be a godsend for Trump and particularly hurt Democrats in swing districts the party won back in 2018. I wish I had it handy, but in 2018, there was a Gallup poll that showed more Americans supported socialism than capitalism. But look, don't let facts get in the way, CNN. Quote, Bernie is surging and we're running out of time before the Iowa caucuses, Pete Buttigieg wrote in a desperate fundraising plea. Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar told reporters on Sunday that she believes Sanders would be bad for down-ballot races in 2020 if he's the nominee. Quote, that's my argument. My argument is that I will make our tent bigger, our coalition wider, and my coattails are longer. I actually have the receipts, she said. I don't come from a state as blue as Vermont. You know what really drives me fucking insane? You know what drives me insane? Is Amy Klobuchar, besides the fact that she's a Republican, besides the fact that when she says, I will build a bigger tent, she's really talking about Wall Street is invited in my tent, fossil fuckers are invited in my tent because she's for fracking, and natural gas. Big Pharma, welcome in my tent. Silicon Valley, welcome in my tent. You know, all of these, welcome in my big tent. You're welcome. Make me s'mores. So but beyond that, there's not one journalist who has challenged Amy Klobuchar on this talking point. Do you know the last time a Republican won the presidency in the state of Minnesota? Take a guess. Quick Google search. Richard Nixon. A Democrat has won the presidency in Minnesota since 1976. So I don't understand what she is even talking about, that she comes from a state that's purple or not, she attracts conservative voters. A Democrat has won since 1976. You know the last time a Republican won in Vermont, where Bernie Sanders comes from? George Bush, Papa Bush, 1988. Bernie Sanders beat a Republican. Vermont used to be a Republican state. It is not. It is now more hippy-dippy Democrat, but it used to be a very, very Republican state. George Papa Bush won in 88. Bernie beat an incumbent Republican to become a congressman in 1990. So this is just what infuriates me. It is factual. It is Googleable, if that's a word. All you got to do is Google it. Amy Klobuchar. She's not from a purple state. She's not from a red state. She's from a Democratic state. She is not any more equipped to get Midwest voters, conservative voters, whatever. Guess what? And Jacobin, the socialist magazine, just wrote a great piece about this. Bernie has done exceptionally well in Vermont among conservative areas, among rural areas. Bernie did exceptionally well among conservative and rural areas in the Iowa caucus in 2016. Guess what? Bernie Sanders almost won, not just the Iowa caucus, which, by the way, I think he did win, but that's another story. He almost won the Missouri primary. Missouri's pretty red. He almost won the Kentucky primary. I'd say Kentucky's pretty red. He lost both of those by less than a point. He won the Oklahoma primary. So what is all this bullshit? And I'm not saying this as a Bernie supporter. I'm saying this as a supporter of truth and facts. Your job as a journalist is not to allow politicians to just feed bullshit. Your job is to challenge them when they are putting out things that are alternate of reality. Who said that? Kellyanne Conway? Alternate facts? If I was a debate moderator, which would never happen, the minute Amy Klobuchar said that, I'd say, Senator Klobuchar, Democrats have won in Minnesota since Richard Nixon. So are you really, wheeling and dealing and getting these Republican voters in a blue state in Minnesota? By the way, Bernie Sanders won the Indiana primary, another red state. Guess another Democrat who won Indiana in the general election. Barack Obama in 2008. Why did he win Indiana in 2008? Because he ran on a progressive message. He was obviously full of shit. He hoodwinked me. I know he hoodwinked you. Jacobin, excuse me. But, I mean, this is just facts, and they let them get away with murder. And I know a lot of older Democrats that buy this bullshit from Amy Klobuchar and Joe Biden that they are going to attract the Republicans and the Miss. What did Chuck Schumer say? Sorry if I'm paraphrasing. For every blue-collar worker in Pittsburgh we lose, we're going to pick up 2 moderate Republicans. Let me explain something, if you don't know. He said this because Hillary Clinton's brilliant idea was to court Republicans instead of progressives and working class people. There is no such thing as a moderate Republican. Let me explain this one more time. There is no such thing as a moderate Republican. You know what a moderate Republican is right now? A Democrat. That's the moderate Republicans, the mainstream Democratic Party. Okay? So, yes, Colin, you'll have to bleep, bleep, bleep. Sorry about that. Colin, you're working overtime. I love you. So, instead of catering to Republicans, who, by the way, contrary to what people think, do you know that there are more Bernie Sanders supporters that watch Fox News than CNN and MSNBC? Not because they are Republicans, but because Fox News is actually the only channel that covers Bernie in a somewhat fair way. That's going to drastically change if he becomes the nominee. I mean, Bernie Sanders did a town hall on Fox with a bunch of conservative voters. He brought down the House. They all raised their hand immediately. Why? Because most Republicans, and by the way, most neoliberal Democrats, on the issues are closet progressives. I know this because I've been around the country and I see it. So, anyway, sorry about that tangent, but it just drives me insane. It drives me insane. The bullshit. Amy Klobuchar is not at all any more of an asset to win Republicans or moderates. Honestly, I think Amy Klobuchar would be destroyed by Donald Trump. Absolutely destroyed. But that's besides the point. So, anyway, then, this article goes on to quote Terry McAuliffe, who's basically best friends forever with Bill and Hillary Clinton, about, how scary Bernie is. But they say, well, if he's the nominee, he's the nominee. But these are the same people who Tom Perez has appointed to be on the DNC rules and the platform committee. You think Terry McAuliffe, who is best friends with Hillary and Bill, who has been a mega fundraiser and bundler in the Democratic Party, is just going to roll out the red carpet for Bernie Sanders? I got a bridge to sell you. Then you got the New York Times writing about, in Iowa, the not Sanders Democrats find voters torn. As the liberal Bernie Sanders tightens his grip on Iowa, more traditional Democrats remain split among his 4 leading competitors. Oh, God. But this is my favorite so far. Bernie Sanders and his internet army. At the start of his 2020 bid, the Vermont senator told his supporters that he condemned bullying. Is it his problem if many don't seem to listen? Oh, my God. Oh, my God. First of all, and keep the super chats coming. We really appreciate it. And remember, we've only gotten 1 new member so far. There's 720 people watching right now. I know there are some of you watching that are not Status Coup members. Statuscoup.com/join. Sign up. Become a member for as low as $5 a month. $5 a month. Obviously, if you don't have an extra $5 a month, we love you anyway. No problem if you can't do it. But if you got $5 a month or $10 a month, we have different plans. You could also become a member for $179 annually. This is how we fund in the field reporting. Again, if you came late, I'm joining Marcus in Iowa in a few days. We'll be there for days before the Iowa caucus. Welcome new Status Coup member Teresa. Woohoo!
Welcome!
841 members. We got 9 to go. We got to get 9 more before the members call tomorrow night. If you are new, if you're signing up, you will get a video link to join Jen and I tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern Time, lickety-split, 7:30 Eastern Time for our monthly video call. It's a lot of fun. You do not have to be on video if you do not want to. You could just put your video on mute and just listen in. We take questions, comments, concerns. It's a lot of fun. So let me just say this, because I don't have a lot of patience or tolerance for this. If the New York Times, if the Daily Beast, if the Washington Post, and all of these ridiculous neoliberal public relations people pretending to be journalists, if they spent a quarter of as much time, okay, talking to, investigating, and reporting on people working 3 jobs, people rationing insulin, people being stopped wrongly by police, people being poisoned by their water, people being poisoned by their air, people getting exploited by their bosses. If they spent a quarter of as much time focusing on those things as how mean Bernie Sanders supporters are on Twitter, the world would be a much better place. I got news for you folks. I really don't have any patience for this narrative. I don't really care about this narrative. This is politics. This is also social media. This is also the digital age. People are hurting. People are waking up to this. And if the neoliberal bourgeoisie doesn't like young people, old people, white people, black people, brown people, indigenous people, handicapped people, if they don't like these people giving their 2 cents on Twitter, if they don't like these people challenging people on Twitter about their records, of course I don't condone anybody being sexist, racist, or anything like that, but if you want to hang that over Bernie Sanders and he needs to be responsible for people on Twitter, then how about the same thing for neoliberals? How about the same thing for Kamala Harris's supporters or Elizabeth Warren's supporters? My girlfriend sent me this the other day. Great find by her. I mean, should we write up a New York Times piece about these kind of mean groups? Let me find it. Here's a Facebook group. It's called Democrats Stronger Together. Democrats Stronger Together. Number 1, be respectful to everyone in this group. It's a private Facebook group, by the way. Number 2, profanity and name-calling are not allowed. Number 3, no bashing of any candidates, exception bash away if it's Bernie. Number 4, satire posts. Label at the top of your post, it's a satire, so people will know it's meaning for a good laugh. To tell you the truth, I don't really give a flying fuck if these people bash Bernie Sanders all day, because there's actual real things to focus on if you're a journalist, like this. Like this. The internet has passionate people, and you know what this is really about? And you know why the New York Times is writing about this stuff? Because instead of actually looking at why are these people so fired up online? Why are these people so passionate? Why are these people putting out snake emojis when it comes to Elizabeth Warren and what she did? Maybe it's because they're fighting back because they've been exploited for the last 40 years. Because they've been screwed, because their wealth is being stolen by the plutocrats and the bourgeoisie. And if you don't like those people fighting back, well, guess what? Give them a reason to back off. Provide health care to America and its citizens. Provide education. Provide clean water. Provide basic human rights. Provide journalism that actually informs. I wouldn't have to be screaming at the top of my head. I wouldn't have to be ranting about the lies coming from Amy and Pete and Joe if we had media in this country that did its damn job. You think I like this? Does it look like I'm having fun? I actually am. But does it look? God. Keep it coming, folks. We are now at 842 Status Coup members. I'd love to get another 8 of you before we sign off. Oh, no, that's Teresa. Okay, 842. So, I don't care about this at all. I am not going to buy into this bullshit narrative about Bernie Sanders supporters are mean online. Get the fuck over it. Seriously. It's ridiculous. And by the way, by the way? You know, I see a lot of focus from the New York Times on the fact that Bernie Sanders supporters are, rude online. I didn't see as much focus when emails were coming out in 2016 with John Podesta, who, by the way, Tom Perez just put John Podesta on the DNC committee at the convention. When John Podesta, in emails, was talking about where should we stick the knife in, Bernie Sanders. When Hillary's campaign was talking about let's go to the networks and push him as an atheist. So we're going to go after working people on Twitter for the crime of being passionate about their candidate and going after other candidates on policy. Nobody's criticizing Elizabeth Warren's hairstyle. Nobody's criticizing Pete Buttigieg because he's short. I don't see any Bernie supporters talking about Pete Buttigieg other than being a fraud. And I got news for you. They're running for president. They're public servants. With all due respect, grow a spine. And if you don't like it, if you don't like supporters of other candidates coming after you, then why don't you provide policies that will actually endear yourself to those candidates? Just a thought. And then you have Politico. They let him get away with murder. Dems tormented over how to stop Bernie. And my favorite one of the day, war expert David Frum. This wonderful war expert, David Frum, who helped push us along with Billy Crystal and Max Boot and George W. and Dick Cheney and Jennifer Rubin and Dick and George Tenet, Paul Wolfowitz, all these brainiacs who have been rehabilitated by MSNBC. David Frum is telling us how to win elections. I mean, you can't make this up. Can't make this up. So to me, if I'm Bernie Sanders' campaign, I'm not. If this is what they're going to be coming at you with, these articles about how, establishment's freaking out, if that's the worst of it, I'll take that any day. If this is the worst of it, the establishment freak out stories online, that's fine. But that's not going to be the worst of it. We got 7 days to go. I've said it many times. I'm surprised it hasn't come yet, but buckle up, folks. I truly believe the communist stuff is coming. The Soviet Union stuff is coming. Wait a minute. Him and Jane went on a honeymoon in the Soviet Union. What did they eat? Who did they talk to? Where did they stay? What was the purpose of this visit? What kind of vodka did they drink? I want to know. Wait for it in Politico. I'm telling you, it's coming. Can't wait to be right. Welcome new Status Coup member Riley.
Riley, welcome.
843 Status Coup members. Let's keep it going, baby. 7 away. 7 away from 850. And by the way, Jen, I don't know if you believe in miracles. If we get to 850, 860 before I go to Iowa in a few days, I don't know. That meter's getting closer to 1,000. Miraculous things can happen in Iowa. So can really dastardly terrible things. I've seen both. But if we get to 850, that's 150 away from Iowa, from 1,000. And if we go to Iowa and we do what only Status Coup could do, we might be able to get that meter closer to 1,000. I think so. By the way, kudos to Jen, by the way. You guys don't see the hard work behind the scenes. I mean, this Nina Turner tweet at the top of Status Quo's Twitter, we're now at 858 retweets, 62,000 views on our Twitter. So if you don't follow Status Quo, go follow us and go retweet. We'd love to get that up to 1,000 retweets. We're at 858 retweets, 63,000 views. My Lord. Nina Turner bringing the fire. And Jen has sent that out. We're hoping, fingers crossed, that we get some media to write it up. Because, Nina Turner basically saying Tom Perez should be ashamed. I think it's kind of newsworthy, don't you? So, what now? Oh, I'm sorry, I've missed a couple super chats too. So, Owen Johnson, $5. Everybody, please sign the change.org petition to draft Nina Turner as vice president. Great job, Status Coup, especially the South Bend coverage. Nobody else is doing that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Nobody else is doing that because nobody else gives a damn and nobody else wants to get in the trenches and roll up the sleeves. You are helping us do that. Let me tell you something. It is not sexy for the corporate media, and frankly, I don't see many independent media outlets doing this either. They don't find it sexy to go into South Bend and talk to poor black people. They don't find it sexy to go to Flint 15 times like I've been and 5-6 times that Jen's been. But we're not in the sexy business. We're in the justice business. Put her on a bumper sticker and smoke it, baby. Statuscoup.com/join. Statuscoup.com/join. 8:43 now. Can we get to 8:50? I think so. Thank you, Owen. Lily Rowe, $2. I'd like a video clip of who the superdelegates are. We'll get that to you. Jose Orozco, $5. Do you see a path for Bernie to win 2,373, a majority of delegates, and avoiding the terrible DNC superdelegates? Could you comment on this? I don't want to get ahead of myself. I think it's premature to talk about that. Right now, if Elizabeth Warren stays in, no, I do not. If Elizabeth Warren stays in until past Super Tuesday, I think it would be tough for Bernie to get the number of delegates he needs. To me, the most likely scenario is this. I think Bernie's going to win Iowa, but I don't think it's going to be easy, and I think they're going to try and rig it. That's why I want to go. Not that I could stop them from rigging it, but just show it if they do. I think that if Elizabeth Warren doesn't come in a close second, so let's say she comes in third or fourth, I think Iowa is a must-win for Elizabeth Warren. She is the most campaign staff of anybody other than Michael Bloomberg, who doesn't count because he's just going to buy his way into contention. But Warren has the most campaign staff. Well, if you have the most campaign staff, you got to have something to put on the victory board, or at least come in a close second, or else your fundraising's going to dry up, your media attention dries up, and you're not going to be able to keep your staff. This is what happened to Kamala Harris. She started laying off staff because she was sliding in the polls. If Elizabeth Warren doesn't win Iowa, if she doesn't come in a close second, if she then doesn't win New Hampshire, there's no path for her to win. But if she stays in, because whatever her reasons are to stay in, then I think it would be difficult for Bernie to get the number of delegates, not because Elizabeth Warren, I don't think the majority of Elizabeth Warren supporters are actually potential Bernie Sanders supporters. According to the polls, Warren supporters support Bernie second, but I think a lot of them actually would go to Biden. A lot of them would go to Klobuchar if she stays in, but if Warren drops out, I think Bernie has a path to getting the number of delegates he needs. I also think the wild card here is if Biden does very, very poorly. If Biden does very, very poorly, the establishment might throw its weight. They don't, they wouldn't have to actually throw their money. They might throw their weight to Michael Bloomberg, who is rising in the polls. So there's a lot of different scenarios. But do I think Bernie has a path? Yes. But I think it's all premature. I don't think you should even think about it. I think you should just focus on winning Iowa and New Hampshire. Let me tell you something. If Bernie Sanders wins Iowa, if Bernie Sanders wins New Hampshire, he is going to end up having the most pledged delegates going in to the convention. I don't know if that means he's going to have the most. I don't know if that means he's going to have the clinch it, but he will. If he wins Iowa, if he wins New Hampshire, very likely he will then win Nevada, and it's going to be a lot of momentum from there. I also think you're going to see other candidates drop out if he wins Iowa and New Hampshire. I think Yang drops out. I think Klobuchar drops out. I think Tulsi drops out. I think Pete's going to stay in because he's got the money and thinks highly enough of himself. But I do think this is right now about Iowa and New Hampshire. I also think the Democratic Party establishment, as cravenly greedy as they are, I personally have a hard time believing if Bernie has the most pledged delegates, I have a hard time believing when it comes to it, they would be willing to sabotage him at the convention only because that would basically sentence them to losing for the next 20 to 30 years. If they screw Bernie at the convention, you are permanently losing the younger generation for the Democratic Party. You're not getting those people back if you don't give it to Bernie if he has the most pledged delegates. I think Tom Perez and the Democrats are smart enough to know that. But then again, sometimes greed is a much more powerful force than intelligence. So we'll see. We will see. Let's see. New member Robert. Whoa! 844 Status Coup members. Welcome to the Media Revolution, Robert. We'll see you hopefully on the members call tomorrow. Can I get 850 before I sign off? 6 more to go. Keep it coming. Statuscoup.com/join. That's statuscoup.com/join to become a member. Look forward to the members call tomorrow. Keep it coming. So, Jen, let me see. Okay. Fangirl, $1.49. Super Chat, Unicorn, love it. Chris Wynn, $5. Canvassers here in Indiana have flipped lifelong Republicans to support Bernie. Also, Indiana Republicans hate Pence. Just ask what he did here. Guess what, Chris? I have the receipts because I've spoken with Indiana Republicans about Mike Pence. I've always thought Mike Pence is actually scarier than Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong, Donald Trump is plenty scary. But Donald Trump doesn't have a firm ideology other than Donald Trump. Mike Pence does have a firm ideology. It's Christian fundamentalism. It's making women bury the cells or whatever if they have a miscarriage within a month. Do you know he did that in Indiana? He made women bury the I don't want to be graphic, but whatever comes out in a miscarriage. That's disgusting. That's vile. And a lot of other terrible things Mike Pence has done. So, yes, don't underestimate that Indiana does not like Mike Pence. I'd see a video clip. We'll work on getting you the super delegates. All right. Any last super chats? Last this, blah, blah, blah. Me too, Jordan. I can't hear a not when you yell. I'd rather hear a not's excitement. So they don't want me to yell. They want just to hear you yelling in excitement when a new member. There you go. Jen is obviously cheering. You just can't hear her. So she's very excited, too, when we get a new sign-up. So the last thing I'll say, and again, thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you, Nina. Marcus, we'll have more videos from Marcus. We have some videos from Jen we haven't published. Poor Jen. She went into the belly of the beast. She went to the March for Life rally. She talked to Trump supporters who on camera think Donald Trump should be king. She talked to pro-life women who, no problem with war, no problem with us murdering people all over the country. We don't need to worry about those lives, just the fetuses. There was just a whole lot of great interviews she did. There was also, what was it? She interviewed somebody who said abortions lead to school shootings. So I look forward to publishing that one. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up. Alicia, $5 in the super chat. I'll vote for Bernie. Boo. And I just want to make a point. If you've been on the fence, if you don't think it's important, not that you don't think it's important, but if you genuinely have the $5 to $10 to sign up as a member, but you're just whatever, I'll watch the YouTube, but we don't, I don't want to put my money towards this. I just want to ask you a question. If you have the funds to sign up as a member, besides the fact that you do get bonus content from us, do you see any other outlet doing the kind of reporting we're doing? This isn't to attack other outlets. I think The Intercept does great reporting through written articles, which I think is great. Democracy Now! Does good reporting. Sometimes they travel and stuff. Jacobin does good stuff. But I'm talking about, do you see other outlets in the trenches with very limited funding who are refusing? We do not have any big Democratic Republican sugar daddies. No bankers. No fossil fuckers, no big pharma, no Silicon Valley, no big real estate, none of them. We don't have any of that funding. Do you see anybody covering March for Life? You see anybody freezing their tushies off in Iowa for the last few weeks? Because Marcus has been. Did you see anyone else covering South Bend the way we did? We do it because we have the will, and don't tell anyone, there's a huge demand for this reporting. There is a huge demand for this reporting. Welcome, new member Maggie.
Woo! Maggie, welcome to the community.
Wow, welcome to the Coup community, baby. 845 Status Coup members. So, thank you, Maggie. We're 5 away from 850. So, This is not to poop on anybody else because we love our friends. Jimmy, Kyle, Lee Camp, Mike from the Humanist Report, Jamal Thomas, Abby Martin, Crystal, and Sagar. I don't know who else I'm forgetting. Rational National. There's a lot of great progressives doing great work. But my point is, I think it's not enough just to have political organizing. You got to wake people up in many different ways. And part of waking people up is getting out and showing people what's really, really going on. And the last thing I'll say, and we'll talk about it more tomorrow night in our members only call, last call for that. Wow, Nancy! New member Nancy!
Woo! Welcome to the community, Nancy!
846 Status Coup members. Oh my Lord, my heart is singing. I might have to have 2 s'mores tonight in celebration. Welcome, Nancy. Thank you. 846. Last thing I'll say, I'm going to go into more of this tomorrow night. In a few weeks, expect a bomb to drop. I know a lot of you are angry at me. I know a lot of you are saying, Jordan, I've had it up to here with your promises. Stop teasing me. As Jen could attest, as I could attest, in a couple of weeks, there's going to be something big coming out here at Status Coup. That's all I can tell you. We have some momentum. We have more feedback that this is coming out very soon. So I think you're going to be very proud to be a member once that comes out. Thank you, Alicia, $10. I'm feeling the burn. Thank you, Alicia. Appreciate the support. Did I miss any other chats? Maddie Perry, $1.99. Warren will most likely endorse Biden. Maddie, I got to tell you the truth. I really don't know. On that one. Alicia, another $5. I'll vote blue for Bernie Boo. I like that. You know what? If Elizabeth Warren wants to endorse Joe Biden, that's going to tell me 2 things. Number one, I mean, it doesn't tell me anything because it will just confirm what I already know. She has the worst political instincts of any politician that I've covered if she endorses Joe Biden. And number 2, it will tell me a very, very sad story. It will continue a trend of a very, very sad thing. And that is the continuing trend of men and women. This is cross-gender. Individuals who enter politics with the right vision. I think Elizabeth Warren was great when she entered the Senate. I was very taken with her when she was a candidate for the Senate. When she was fighting the good fight, before she was a senator. This continues a trend. If she endorses Biden, of politicians who go in with the right vision, who go in fairly uncorrupted, and then they just totally get sucked in by the slow gradualism and what do they call that? The soft bigotry of low expectations. So I hope she doesn't do that. I really do. I want to keep going. I mean, we're only 4 members now away from 850. What do you think, Jen? Should I just start freestyling?
Where are those workout videos?
I know. I got to find them. I thought we have the workout videos, but I can't find them on my phone.
I'll redo them tonight.
We'll redo them. All right. Join Vivian, Teresa, Cyric, Robert, Maggie, and Nancy as a member. I agree. And I'm looking forward to this members call tomorrow. And this members call tomorrow night is right before I head to Iowa. So that's equally exciting. So I could take your questions, comments, ideas for coverage in Iowa and New Hampshire, because I'm going to New Hampshire right after. So we're excited. Definitely join the call tomorrow night. The call, our members calls have been getting bigger and bigger each time. So take questions. All right, I'll take questions. Hit me with your questions, comments, concerns. Hi, Anat. Miss you and Jordan. Rebecca, I miss you too. Have we met? I miss you, though. Bring the popcorn tomorrow night. I agree. Alicia, how do I become a member? As easy as statuscoup.com/join. Follow that link and become a member, Alicia. I will welcome you with open arms. Jordan the Hill just released a new hit piece on Bernie. Go over it with us. Wesley, can you be kind and send me the link? Can you be kind and send me the link? Artificial Morphicin, $2. Warren sucked from the toxic teat of Hillary. Oh, why do you have to give me that image? Thank you for the $2 though. The Hill, is being a member discreet. Bread Pill, nobody your membership. Only us. And if you don't want us to read it, we don't have to read when you become a member. No problem. Welcome, new member Ricky.
Woo! Ricky, welcome.
Wow, 847. Oh no. No. Did I just lose it? No. Okay. Sorry, lost you for a minute. 847 Status Coup members. We are now three members away. 3 members away from 850. I think it could be done. Sorry, I froze for a minute. I'm back now. All right. Let's see. Nader has been on Bernie's team since 2015. That is true. Tell us more about this special call you will have. Jose, what do you want to know? Jen, myself, it's through Zoom.com. It's very, very casual. Our members call in from around the country. We have people calling in from around the world. And we talk usually for an hour and a half. I start usually the members call with a bit of a state of the coup, where I go over some of the behind-the-scenes kind of business stuff that I don't talk about on the normal show. And then we just go in straight to kind of freestyle questions and answers and questions, comments, ideas. We take a lot of ideas because it's really just Jen and I doing Status Coup. So we take a lot of ideas. Some of them we have followed up on. So, yeah, that's as simple as that. It's not through YouTube, and you'll get a link. And by the way, if you're a patron, we grow our membership through our website, but we do have like 300-something patrons, too. You also will get the video link, too. So don't worry about that. Drinking game during the call. Maggie B. Jesus. Trying to get me hammered before I go to Iowa? I'm fine. I got my gluten-free beer ready to happen. So we could have a drinking game for every new hit piece that comes out on Bernie during the call. I'm happy with that. Cut the cable cord. You'll never look back. Couldn't agree more. Rebecca, wow, great job. 3 new members. Whoa, just got another new member. Lars. Status Coup.
Lars, we love you. Welcome.
848 Status Coup members. Holy cow, 2 away from 850 members. I can't believe it. Truly can't believe it. Thank you, Lars. Welcome to the Media Revolution. And by the way, every single person that signs up today, please, 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 put it on your calendar. 7:30 Eastern tomorrow night, 4:30 Pacific is our members call. You will get a link through Zoom. Jen, I don't know how it works. Is it through their email? I'm not positive. But you'll get a link. So keep signing up. And by the way, I am very, very happy we are growing today so quickly because I don't know if it's possible. I really don't. But when we were in Miami for the Democratic Party's first debate, when I was on the ground there, just, by the way, like 3 weeks after my back surgery, just saying, we got another, I think we grew another 150 members in like 2 or 3 weeks during and right after the Miami debate, our coverage there. So if we're at 850, by the time I go to Iowa, and we're 2 away from 850. I'm not saying let's not stop at 850, but I'm just saying, if we're at 850, I think it's possible to grow another 150 while we're in Iowa and the days and week or 2 after that. I really do. And, we're a startup, so you got to look at mini goals, benchmarks, those kinds of things. For us to hit 1,000 members, paying members, if we could get there in the early stages of the Democratic primary, it's big for many reasons. First of all, It's big because we are trying to get larger funding. We're trying to get larger funding from progressive sources, not George Soros, not the Koch brothers, not Jeffrey Katzenberg, certainly not the David Brocks of the world. Viewers or we're talking to some unconventional sources, athletes, Hollywood, those kind of things. So we are looking for larger funding, and it does help us show the people that we're trying to attract when we say, hey, not only are you possibly supporting us because you believe in what we're doing, but we have a really, really stable and growing business model here. And we already have X amount of paying members per month. So this is another major reason we're trying to grow our membership. So thank you. I truly, truly thank you guys, everybody that signed up. We really appreciate it. We know the majority of our viewership. We don't need like expert focus groups to know you guys aren't like the super wealthy. So we really, really appreciate every single member. $5, $10, all of you. Artificial Morphicin, $2 in the super chat. Rogan's endorsement is more valuable than the New York Times. Yeah, I said that yesterday. Completely agree. 100 times more valuable. Gabriel Arcare, 50 sec. Do you have a link to the Status Coup shop to buy t-shirts, mugs, etc.? Great point. Go to statuscoup.com and then click on store. Statuscoup.com and click on store at the top. Will take you to our swag store. It's a good reminder. We should promote that more. Welcome, new member Margaret.
Welcome, Margaret. We love you.
Wow. 849 Status Coup members. Holy cow. Who's going to be the lucky 850? Who's going to be the lucky 850? Jen, I couldn't. Did you think this was going to happen today? I didn't. Holy cow. I'm ready to have I'm ready to have the rest of my gluten-free beer after this.
Oh, Jordy, you earned it.
Gluten-free. Way to be. Even though I had a sandwich with gluten this morning.
Sure.
Sorry. Anyway. One away. One away. Holy cow. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. Thank you to Jen, to Colin, Anat in the super chat. It isn't just me, folks. It isn't just me. So, let's take a couple more questions, comments. I will stay on as long as humanly possible until we get another. Hey, can we get another few? I'm not stopping at 850 here. We are on fire. Free T-shirt for 850. I don't make it. I don't make the rules. That's up to Jen. Jen is the marketer in chief here. Just how far back and how much in depth does Jordan Peterson's knowledge and involvement with the progressive movement go? I'm Jordan Chariton. What?
Lanisha, new member.
What?
New member, Lanisha.
Whoa, Lanisha! 850! 850 Status Coup members! Holy cow! Holy cow! Oh my lord. I don't even know what to say. It's amazing. I think we grew like...
Have you ever been speechless in your life? This is a first.
No, I've never been speechless, but I'm I don't want to cry on the internet, but I might have to.
You could cry.
This is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you. We really, really appreciate it from the bottom of our hearts. And we just got another one, Todd. Holy cow, Todd.
What up?
Thank you, Todd. Lucky number 851 members. Holy cow. So-and-so asked, what was your question? What is the depth of Jordan Chariton's knowledge with the progressive movement? Well, I have been to about, let me think. Keep signing up. I've been to, I don't have the list in front of me, but I think I've been to about 800. I've been to about 35 states in the last 4 years. I've probably interviewed at this point between 1,000 and 2,000 people, mostly progressives. The last 4 years, I reported on the campaign trail in 2016. Not really following, like who's up and who's down, but like interview people. I interviewed single mothers in trailer parks. I went to Flint, I've been to Flint 15 times. I've been to East Chicago. I've been to Detroit. I've been to Alabama. I've been to Cleveland. I mean, I've been to a lot of places. So am I familiar with the progressive movement? You're damn right I am. Absolutely. And I am a proud progressive journalist. So proud that, for those of you that don't know, I did turn down, I won't say where, but I did turn down a job while I was at the Young Turks. I turned down a job for a lot of money elsewhere at a more corporate outlet. So I put my money where my mouth is, even when it's a lot less money. I did not want to work for a corporate outlet. And for those of you asking, we don't promote it a lot, but you can. Let me find it here. If you go to statuscoup.com, which we recently tweaked a little bit, right there at the top is the Status Coup store. So you just click on store at the top. That's right next to become a member too. And it will take you to the Status Coup store. And boy, I mean, we got everything. We got something for everybody. You got tees, little tote bag there, little long sleeve shirts, little pillow, hoodie. I mean, a little mug for your tea, coffee, whiskey, whatever. Little workout pants. I mean, it's fantastic. Tank tops. We got something for everybody. A lot of people have asked for hats, and we do need to figure out the hat situation. We do need to figure out the hat situation for sure. And by the way, I just want to point something out. Somebody just wrote, Jordan Chariton, I remember your good work with TYT about Flint and the reservation pipeline issues. Thank you, Cryptical. I really appreciate that. I want to point something out, and Cryptical makes me think about this. Welcome, new member Jennifer!
Jennifer!
850. Wait, let me make sure I have the number right. 851. 851.
But it was 52. Todd was.
I had it wrong. 851. Still good. Let's keep going. 851 Status Coup members. Let's keep signing up. Cryptic is like many. Cryptic is somebody who might have watched me when I was at the Young Turks and had no idea that I have been back. When I say I mean we, because I have been back with Jen and Colin and Marcus. We've been doing this almost 2 years, but the overwhelming majority of people that might have followed me at the Young Turks have no idea. Literally are just starting to trickle in now to watch Status Coup, because this platform, YouTube, and I don't want to spend too much time, literally does not show us in people's feeds. It's unbelievable. We don't show up in people's recommended feeds. People that actually subscribe to our channel barely see our videos. When we're live, people don't get notifications. We just looked at the analytics. Literally, people have to search Status Coup to find us. So it's been a major, major obstacle, to say the least, for growth. Because there is a big audience out there that would sign up for Status Coup, would struggle. I saw it in the live chat. Would subscribe. After a little while, might sign up as a member, but you can't get any of that if they don't know you exist. And as Jen could tell you, I could tell you, there is so many people that are just now figuring out that this exists. So that is why I really, really ask you, word of mouth makes a huge difference. Whether it be sharing on your Twitter, sharing on your Facebook, your Twitch, your Instagram, whatever it is. And we are on Instagram, by the way, too. That's Instagram Instagram.com/Status Coup. That's Instagram.com/Status Coup. Also spread the word, like to your friends, your family, whatever. Believe it or not, word of mouth actually does make a difference, too. Algorithms are bearing everything, even Bernie clips. I mean, honestly, Facebook we don't even really do Facebook that much anymore because it's so suppressed. So we are, working hard and tirelessly and being suppressed at the same time. So we need to fight the algorithm suppression, and you are helping us do that. So thank you. And I don't think I have many other words. Jen, I know, thanks you. Colin is working on it for Colin is working on it so we could have Jen live on the show. Instead of like, hey, Jen, what do you think in the super chat? We're trying to figure out the tech on our end so Jen could come in live. So looking forward to that. Did I miss anything? No, I think I got everyone. Jordan, so you have a list of members from 1st to 851. I have the list. And your blood type. No. Yes, we have the full list of 851 members. But we cannot stop. We cannot stop. 851 members is wonderful. But for us, listen, we got a lot of goals here. This is not just, we're not fucking around here. So first things first, we need to hire an additional, we need some marketing help. So Jen, we don't want Jen doing marketing all the time. We want her to move over to reporting and researching because she's really, really good at it. So we need some marketing help. We would like to hire an additional reporter. So it's not just me. Status Coup is never going to be some big thing if it's just me. We need many faces, many voices. There's a lot of corruption and injustice to go around, and I cannot be everywhere and do everything. So we want to hire additional reporters. We need some marketing help. We definitely need more money to travel and advertise that traveling because we are being suppressed. So membership is not our only source. I mean, we are trying to get funding elsewhere. We do make a little bit of money off of YouTube, but membership is our core model. And I also think putting aside the money for a second, obviously the money is how this grows, but part of why we are growing as a membership model rather than an advertising model or just selling out quickly and getting a big Democratic or Republican Party donor to give us money is because I think it's really important. And before we became Status Coup, I met with some folks and they tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Oh, Jordan, it's so cute that you want to go to Flint and, cover, poor people and, environmental stuff and pipeline fights and all this, but nobody gives a shit about that. People just want conflict and sensationalism and Trump." And I said, well, I beg to differ. As humbly as I could say it, when I was at the Young Turks, channel I did there covered everything that we cover here. Probably we're doing more here than I did there. And that channel grew lickety-split very quickly. And there was a huge audience that didn't want conflict and sensationalism, wanted in the trenches, in the field reporting, giving a microphone back to actual people. And I think there's a huge audience for that. So on top of the membership, on top of the money that comes in, it's very important, I think, from the point of view of actually making a grassroots media revolution, it's very important to have strength in numbers, to have people not only shitting on the corporate media, but taking part in actually growing something to counter the corporate media. Because what does corporate media really mean? Corporate media, all it means is the plutocracy's super PAC. That's what corporate media is. It is the super PAC for the oligarchy. That's what the New York Times is. That's what CNN is, MS, Morning Joe, all of it. It's just a super PAC for corporate America. So, and it gets its message across 24/7. So how do you counter that? I'm not saying we are the Bernie Sanders of media, although I take it. How do you counter that kind of propaganda on a daily basis? You don't do it by doing the same thing as them. It's the same thing politically. You don't challenge Donald Trump by just becoming a bought-off Chamber of Commerce Democrat. So how do we challenge corporate media's propaganda? How do we offer something different? Grassroots, from the ground up. And let me tell you something. It's a lot harder doing it this way. It is a lot harder doing it this way. I don't remember the last, other than a short vacation I took, I've been working mostly 7 days a week, sometimes 8 days a week. Same thing with Jen. We do this because we don't have big funding, so I have to work Sundays and go live to make money for the company. We go out in the field because that's how we're going to get people to sign up, but by offering that kind of reporting that no one else is. So there's also, having the membership grow is also how we grow into more numbers. We need more people because I'm only a human being, Jen's only a human being, and we don't want to burn out so quickly either. So thank you to everybody who signed up today. I am signing off because I need to eat. And got a couple more super chats. Catherine Svoboda, $4.99. Great show. You should take some Status Coup stuff to Marcus. That is a good idea. We will. Rick Wallace, $5. Andy Yang has a hat store, so big people think it's a presidential campaign. Keep going, Jordan. Your reporting was the best in 2016, same as 2020. Thank you. That's nice of you. Artificial Morphison, $2. When in Iowa, please report on any exit polls. You betcha. I shall. Chip Walter, $5. Jordan, do you have any details about this DNC phone app that's going to be used to count caucus votes in Iowa and Nevada? I've heard, is that the virtual caucus you're talking about? I do know about that. Phone app, not sure about, but we'll look into it. Jen, remind me about that phone app. I'll look into that. All right. Thank you. Thank you to all the new members. We're finishing today at 851 Status Coup members. Can't do it without you. I look forward to tomorrow's call. Again, statuscoup.com says join. We look forward to the call tomorrow night, and I'll see you tomorrow night for the live stream, 4:30 Eastern time. That's 4:30 Eastern, 1:30 Pacific. Peace out.